recommendation made by the Peacemaking Coordinating Team is very appropriate, and it is in line with the recommendation that the state made. I know a lot of people are here and somewhat in the dark about what was the underlying charge and all those things. I mean, I'll just share with you that under the traditional system, what this young man was facing was nearly 2 years in the juvenile rehabilitation system. That's 2 years in juvenile prison. And, you know, as a system, that would cost our state about $200,000 to house him there. And I think while Ms. Himes-Davis outlined a lot of work that went into getting us to where we are, it's certainly a much better investment of resources, I think, for this young man than 2 years in prison would have been. And so I'm honored, Your Honor, to make that recommendation. I think it's going to do well for Ramon to be on 12 months of probation and to give back to the peacemaking community, given what it has given to him and his family. And so I think it's very appropriate, and I made a similar recommendation.
And from Ramon and his family, we are recommending the same thing. Part of the peacemaking process is that hopefully you get to a point where it is a agreed recommendation from the community, and I think Ramon very much wants to get back to the community. It's one of the things he suggested, and I know he'll do a very good job of that, and move forward with probation. And of course, I don't think there's any problem. He'll be calling Marcus strictly.
Thank you all. So the reality is that is what the order of the court will be. It will be 12 months of community supervision, 96 hours of community service, most of which can be satisfied by participating in the peacemaking circles that for the new cases that are being referred. And the good news is we have more cases in the pipeline. So I want to thank Mr. Hung and Dan Satterberg. Mr. Hung stuck his neck out enormously far in taking on, in this case was originally charged as robbery in the first degree deadly weapon. So this was a very serious matter. So Mr. Hung stuck his neck out, and I am so appreciative of the bravery and courage that he has demonstrated as we have moved this forward. There's more cases, probably similar cases. The reality is you shouldn't be doing this type of investment. I'm sorry. We have to figure out other ways to deal with our low-level offenders, right? We got to divert them. The more I touch people, the reality is, the more I touch people, the worse they get. So we want me touching fewer and fewer people, right?
Right.
So we want the community to be handling as they develop diversionary practices. We want law enforcement to be developing diversionary practices. So this is really for those most serious cases where the harm is enormous and that what's in play, the liability that's associated with it is enormous as well. Because it's a lot of resources are devoted toward it, but it's a much more effective use of resource. So again, I wanted to thank all of you guys for coming here today. I can't tell you, you have invigorated me. I'll be taking these pictures and sending them around to my colleagues and say, see, I told you this is what the community wants. So as we conclude this, again, to the victim, I honor him for allowing this process to develop, for us to really begin to nourish this process of restorative practices, restorative principles, as we evolve them in King County, Washington. And to Ramon, you have done a fabulous job. Now, I've only really had opportunity to talk to this young man probably 2 times, maybe 3 times. I sat in circle with him. And the maturity that he has shown from the first time I saw him in court to that last circle.
Wow.
This is new peeps here.
Amen.
It really is. The beauty of this process is, and what I always say, is that our children, I agree with Joe here. I haven't met a bad kid. I've met a kid in pain. I've met kids with youth with complex trauma. But the reality is we have never really taken the process to kind of dust off the stone that will polish these youth to the gems that are buried within them. Because they are truly brilliant. Thank you. Safe journeys home. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.